welcome to my video. This is gonna be a quick one. So my last video I was saying how much I like Fedora, and I think Fedora is a very good system. And this isn't, you might think this is Fedora, but it's not Fedora. This is actually on my mini PC. I'm doing this in the living room using my headset and microphone as to record this video. I don't have any Linux system right now at the moment on my desktop that I usually do my YouTube videos on, or the content creator machine, or usually use my Linux box. But right now I have just Windows. So what happened is that I was using Fedora, and it was updating a lot, and it's kind of like a semi-roll and release system, right? And I don't have to really reboot my system all the time because when you do the updates in with the software program, software center, whatever it's called, what it does is that it always does offline updates, which it requires you to restart your computer all the time. It's more secure. It's probably the best way to update your system for Linux, especially on Fedora. So I mean, yeah. So you go here and you just check your updates. If you have updates available, it'll ask you to restart your system. It doesn't matter what it is. It always will ask you to restart your system. Um, right here, it'll ask me to restart my system. Just install Google Chrome. But I don't really have to do that because you can just do that in the terminal. Um, a lot of times I restart my system is when I have kernel updates. So right now I'm using Debian, and it's Debian testing. So I stopped using Fedora for that reason. But there's other reasons I stopped using Fedora. I just prefer Debian. I think Debian's more of a better system, in my opinion. I don't hate Fedora or anything. I just think Debian is a better distribution. I actually installed Windows back, and I was just gonna stop using Linux because honestly, I don't know. Windows doesn't update that much. That used to be the opposite. Back in the day, Linux would not update that much, and it would be a very reliable system. I used to have a long uptimes with Linux years ago. Same as with FreeBSD. Like I remember, like me and my friends, we would just have competition, like who had our system the the highest uptime. Nowadays, it's like updates are like every week with Linux. Doesn't matter what distribution you're on, unless you're on Debian stable. But it updates a lot. I find with Linux, like a lot more in Windows nowadays, even Mac OS. So this doesn't have to be restarted because um, Google Chrome. Um, so just do app upgrade, I guess. App list upgradable. Let's do app upgrade. So Google Chrome, which is important noise, but I don't have to restart my computer to update Google Chrome. It'll be already like it'll be updated instantly. Software like I always, even with Fedora, like I check and see like what it needs to be updated. Like if it's like a kernel or like anything with system D or stuff like that, then I'll like restart the system. But with Debian testing, I installed stable. I just basically done a sudo nano slash etc slash apt slash sources list. Oops. And instead of having bookworm, I just changed it all to testing. All my source repositories. And then I just done a sudo app update. Like so. Then I done This upgrade and updated the system. So this is with GNOME 47.2 or something like that. GNOME, yeah, 47.2. And it's using 6.11.10. It's not the latest kernel, it's not the most up-to-date system, but it's fairly updated compared to stable. Stable is not a bad system. Don't get me wrong. It's using GNOME 43. It's quite old. A lot of things changed since 43, and I don't want to be stuck on old GNOME. And besides, I just find testing better because you have certain programs that I can't get on stable. So, like this terminal, I don't know how you pronounce this, PTYXIS. So this terminal here, that you'll see right here that I'm using it right now, um, you can't get this on Debian stable, but it is available with testing and SID. There's another program I couldn't get that wasn't on. Was this one? There's another program I forgot. FastFetch. FastFetch is not on stable, but it is on testing and SID. So that's another reason why I installed testing, but not just that, because I want to upgrade it. I'm not on SID or anything. I'm just on testing. Testing's not bad. It's between stable and SID, and testing's pretty good because it's stable and it doesn't update as much. Like, yeah, Chrome is updated, but I don't really have to reboot the system. And so yeah, I do like Debian. I don't really want a distro hop. I think Debian to me is a really good system. The problem with me with Debian though is that I had to find the drivers for my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth USB adapter because the kernel does not have it. So I had to basically find the drivers and DKMS the firmware drivers for it. I'm not sure just installing firmware Realtek would have done it, but I got this A821CU drivers or AC600 drivers. It's Bluetooth. It's a Bluetooth combo with Wi-Fi. So if I do CD881 or 2, there you go. I had to, yeah, I saw these drivers and I'm supposed to restart my system. I hadn't even restarted yet. Um, I mod probe the driver and and it works. So I have my Wi-Fi and Bluetooth working, but it wasn't working before. Like even like what another USB adapter I have for Wi-Fi back like a few years ago. Is it also works on Linux, but the driver wasn't with Debian. But like as soon as I run any other distribution besides Debian, it would have it would like all the Linux system would detect that the USB adapter and will work out of the box, even FreeBSD. But with Debian, for some reason, like these USB Wi-Fi or Bluetooth combo, Wi-Fi Bluetooth combo together, like I don't know, it seems like Debian just doesn't have all the drivers, so keep that in mind if people are watching this video and like, yeah, I want to switch to Debian. Um, but I'm gonna stick with Debian because is the first distribution that I used back in 1999, 2000. Canopix is actually one of the first distributions that really got me stuck with Linux, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with Linux. I'm gonna ditch Windows. I use Linux full time on my system, and I'm gonna be a Linux user. And till this day, I try every single distribution that you can think of, like since early 2000s, late 90s till now. And I am really sick and tired of a lot of Linux systems, to be honest. And I'm really sick and tired of like Arch Linux a lot because this everybody using Arch Linux, NixOS, like the popularity of it and just the meme behind it really, really just makes me don't want to use it. I don't think it's cool to use Linux. I don't think it's whatever, you know what I mean? The reason why I use Linux is because I like Linux. I'm used to Linux. I've been using it so long. I actually use it as a main operating system for many years. I'm not really a big fan of Windows, even though I think Windows is a good operating system. I'm just not a big fan of it. I'm a big fan of proprietary software. I am a big fan of open source software. I just hate all this woke agenda behind it nowadays. I really don't like the woke stuff, the politics and all that crap. It really doesn't make Linux look good for me. Like it makes me lose interest with Linux. This is a personal thing. Not everybody's gonna give a crap. But for me personally, I miss the olden days where it was just Linux, Linux was just Linux, and people just talk about Linux. And now everything's about woke and every, it's just the world in general. It's not just Linux. It's just the world is changing to a real just dystopian. It's it's messed up. I don't know how to explain it. It's anyways. Uh, so I'm back on Linux because I miss Linux. I was on Windows. I was using Windows on the system as well, but I said to myself like I'm not gonna dual boot. I'm just gonna have strictly Linux on the system. That's what that's what I am. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna also put Linux on my content creating box and keep Windows on my gaming PC. My gaming PC is basically Windows, and I write a game on Windows. That's just a personal preference. Not saying Linux gaming is bad, it's not. But I do have two other computers plus a Steam Deck that I can do Linux gaming on it as well. So technically, I have more than one gaming PC because my content creating box has the same CPU as my gaming PC, which is a Ryzen 7 5700X, and my content creating box has an RX 7600 GPU. It's not the best, like AMD card, but it's not the worst either, and it's great for Linux gaming. My Linux gaming box has a RTX 4060 NVIDIA graphics, which I use Windows, and it works really well on Windows. I could use Linux too, but I'll just keep it for Windows. Windows gaming to me is still the best gaming experience you'll get on PC. For me personally, that's what I think. I still can do Linux gaming, which I will anyways, right? And yeah, so I left Fedora. I'm going on Debian, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest here. I'm probably gonna stick with Debian until the end because I'm tired of distro hopping. He's looking for another system. I like Debian because I'm used to it. Um, I think it's a good distribution. It's probably one of the first and the best distribution out there. Even though I gotta do a little bit of tinkering with it, it's not that bad. It's not like it's Arch Linux or anything. It's not like it's NixOS or Gentoo. Debian is just Debian and it works good. And I know people's like gotta say like, well, Debian, the whole point of it is to be unstable. Yeah, I know, but I prefer testing. That's just a personal preference, and I every time I use Debian, it was always on testing, anyways. Anyways, once again, guys, thanks for the video. Thanks for the watch. Here's another video. That's what I meant to say. Um, yeah, I do like Fedora. I think Fedora is a great system, but it's just not for me. Um, I used to like using Red Hat years ago and Fedora, but I like Debian. Debian is a great system. You guys who want a really good solid system, Debian is the way to go. Though it doesn't have all the packages you need, especially for me, it doesn't have all the packages in the repository. Because I had to get GIMP and Shotcut from Flatpak. They do not have it in the official repository. Maybe it's on SID, but it's definitely not on Testing or Stable. Like there's no GIMP, there's no Shotcut. So those are the two programs that I like to use, and I had to get it from Flatpak, which I don't mind because Flatpak, when it comes to those applications, is fine. But when it comes to Discord and Steam, I prefer not to use the Flatpak of it because there's reasons why I don't use it. I don't know how to explain it. People probably already know the reasons. But anyways, um, I got the Debian packages, which on their website provides the packages for Discord and Chrome and Steam. So I just got the deb package and install it from from the deb package. That's what's another thing that's nice about. Well, I mean Fedora has this too. You can get RPM packages as well, but I think a lot of like software always provides Debian packages. This is another reason why I used Debian in the past because of of the package format. So like if you want to download a software like even like VirtualBox, you can it always will provide Debian packages. So and it usually for RPM as well, and same as OpenSUSE. But I just think Debian has a good package manager for one thing, and I like Debian. It's not roll and release. It doesn't update that often like Fedora or Arch Linux, and I think testing Debian is probably the sweet spot for me. Like it's stable. It's not super stable, but it's not super unstable either. It's actually a really good. I like testing. Debian testing to me is it's the best. It's Debian 13, and it's actually a solid system. I like to test out Debian. And that's what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to stick with Debian as my main Linux system moving forward. I might sound like an old boomer guy that using Debian, but to be honest, when I was young, back in the early 2000s, I love Debian. I've always been a big fan of Debian, and I'm back on it, and I'm gonna stick with it. I always say that whatever every distribution I go on, but this time I think I'm really gonna do my best, and I'm sure I'm probably gonna just stick with Debian because it just works really well. Anyways, guys, cheers.